Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte, and we are continuing the season preview series here for the 2021 NHL season, and we're taking a look today at the Dallas Stars, and we're going to start things off with some of their additions and their subtractions. So, looking at some of the guys they lost, Jason Dickinson, a middle six center, a former 2013 first-round pick. Jim Nill had the suspicion that the Seattle Kraken were going to take Jason Dickinson if left unprotected. So they moved him to Vancouver, where he was protected, and then just recently signed with the Canucks, so good stuff there. But the Dallas Stars decided to go in a different direction with their forward group, so Jason Dickinson is no longer there. They also lost Andrew Cogliano, who heads back to the West Coast. He will be with the San Jose Sharks. Going back where he was with the Anaheim Ducks for a very long time, had an Iron Man streak in terms of games played, so kind of a depth loss there, a reliable depth loss. And they also lost Jamie Alexiak, who ended up being the guy taken in the expansion draft to the Seattle Kraken and quickly signed. And I don't know what Ron Francis was thinking with this, but he gave a lot of term and a lot of money to Jamie Alexiak, something that Jim Nill and the Dallas Stars probably are happy that they avoided. And interesting spot there. But that was one of their key losses. That was really it. They didn't really lose too much, which is good, honestly. I mean, you lost a middle six center, which is probably the most valuable thing, and a bottom pairing defenseman and a bottom six forward. Again, not that huge of a loss. Then you look at some of the guys they brought in. They bring in Luke Glendening, Michael Raffl as the forward additions. Luke Glendening, a good penalty killer. Kind of the same thing with Michael Raffl, just depth guys. Kind of replace a guy like Andrew Cogliano. That's kind of what they do. Some veteran guys in the room. Michael Raffl spent a lot of time with the Philadelphia Flyers. And Luke Glendening, who was with the Detroit Red Wings for a very long time, now moves out of Motown and now is a member of the Dallas Stars. Now, looking at some of their defensive options, I like some of these moves. They bring in Ryan Suter, who was bought out by the Wild. You know he's going to be fired up this season. They did sign him to a 4-year deal, though, which I think on the back end of that deal may even be bought out in the final year of that deal. But as of right now, you have a guy that is probably just drooling and just working out every day and just with that passion in him, knowing that, I want to prove Bill Guerin and the Wild wrong for buying me out and embarrassing me. Don't be surprised if Ryan Suter has a really good season this year. I think that's one of the guys, if I have to play against, I'd probably try and avoid playing Ryan Suter this year. He's going to be a man on a mission. You also pick up Jani Hakanpaa, who I really liked with the Anaheim Ducks earlier this season. He had some struggles out of the gate, just some little mistakes here and there. And apparently Bob Murray didn't like it too much. He ends up going to the Hurricanes as depth on their playoff run. And the Carolina Hurricanes, Don Waddell and the Hurricanes decide, we're not going to keep him. So with the plethora of defensemen they had, they let him walk. And now he goes to the Dallas Stars on a 2-year deal. Congrats to Jani Hakanpaa. I think he's a really good defenseman. Got a great name as well. I think he's going to be a nice addition there on the right side for Dallas. One of the probably low-key, most undervalued signings this offseason. Then you bring in Braden Holtby on a 1-year, $2 million contract. No harm, no foul. Braden Holtby's had a couple of rough years since Mitch Korn left Washington to go to the Islanders. Braden Holtby needs to find himself. And I think in Dallas, in the Lone Star State, he's got an opportunity with Ben Bishop out to probably take a spot from Jake Onger as the backup goaltender behind Anton Khudobin. Now, things may still change on that front. I just made a video the other day talking about maybe an Anton Khudobin trade. Anton Khudobin, if he gets traded, the net pretty much goes to Braden Holtby. So we'll see what happens there. Just how much trust does Jim Nill have in Braden Holtby, I think, is part of that equation. So I think we're going to see him as the backup starting off, and Ottinger with the Texas Stars in the AHL. And as the season progresses, we may see a situation where Braden Holtby maybe becomes the starter or the backup, maybe even the third goaltender behind Jake Ottinger, depending on how things go. Is a really good opportunity for Braden Holtby, but he has to take advantage of this. This is a contract where he's, kind of betting on himself once again, and he's really got to make it worth it. Because again, Vancouver Canucks bought him out, And they kind of needed a backup. They just really didn't like what they saw from Holtby last year. And to be honest, they were probably hoping Seattle was going to take him as well. And then looking at their lineup, and this is one of the more interesting parts here of the Dallas Stars because, you know, they don't look that different from last year. And mind you, this is a team that missed the playoffs this past season. You have Roope Hintz, Joe Pavelski, and Jason Robertson as your top line. Robertson was really good for them, one of the finalists for the Calder Trophy or the Rookie of the Year award. So expect more from him. Maybe a little bit of a slump in the sophomore slump. We know that's a thing, so that could happen. Then the second line, you got Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, and Alexander Radulov. This may be the last year that we see this line intact. Radulov on the final year of his deal. And Jamie Benn could be a buyout candidate next summer if things don't pick up for Jamie Benn. He did have a little bit of a renaissance season this year, but he really needs to build off of that because he's not getting any younger. His body's not getting any younger. So we'll see what happens there. And those discussions with Tyler Seguin will be brought up as we see some of the depth come up in Dallas. Looking at the third line, you got Joel Kiviranta, who looked very nice last season, did well in the 2019 bubble. Radek Faksa leaves more to be desired. You really want to see more from him. Denis Gurianov, I think, was a great addition from the Florida Panthers. I think he really fits in well in Dallas. And then the fourth line, it's all the well-traveled vets, Michael Raffl, Luke Glendening, and Blake Como, who I have a soft spot for Blake Como. I actually think he's on here somewhere. So, yeah. And then looking at defense, you got Ryan Suter and Miro Heiskanen as your top pair. That could change. They may put Suter with Klingberg. That's not guaranteed at this point, but that is something to look at. Then the second pair, they have listed Esa Lindell and Klingberg. Then the third pair, you got Sekera and Jani Hakanpaa, which I think Hakanpaa definitely is an upgrade on that blue line. So, interesting stuff for the Dallas Stars there. And then the goaltending really doesn't look much different, but they did add Braden Holtby. And they have right now Jake Ottinger as the starter, Hudobin as the backup, and Holtby as the third goaltender. So, very interesting in that regard, according to dailyfaceoff.com. But that's what they have for us right now. And then looking at their cap space, they have a big fat 0 next to their name. They actually have too many players on the roster. But that will be okay once Ben Bishop goes on LTI, as he will miss for the better part of the entire 2021-2022 NHL season. That's really the big storyline for the Dallas Stars this season. They have Hudobin and Holtby as the goaltenders in the NHL, according to Cap Friendly. So that is something to look at. But people have different things. They have Ottinger as the starter. Who knows? But we're going to maybe see a little bit of the depth come up this year, because you look at some of their depth guys. They have Ty Feldhaber, Riley Tufte, Maverick Bourque, Ty Dellandre. You're going to want to see those guys kind of develop a little bit. Joel Lesperance, right? On defense, you got guys like Thomas Harley, who you're hoping to maybe see develop a little bit. Andreas Borgman, a former Maple Leaf, maybe see some kind of spark out of him. And then obviously in between the pipes, you have Jake Ottinger. So very interesting. We'll see what happens. You've got goaltenders like Colton Point as well, who we're going to see a little bit in Texas. So the Dallas Stars in that division, I think, can make the playoffs. With that said, I don't know where teams like Chicago, St. Louis, or even Nashville really are. So for me to pencil them in, I think is the safe bet right now. But it's very interesting because now you have the Avalanche in that division, the Blackhawks, and then who else? Is it Dallas or St. Louis? Because I don't know if Nashville gets in. The more and more I think about it, I don't know if they're going to make it. And guys, the Canada division isn't a thing yet, so you still have the Winnipeg Jets in that division. And Connor Hellebuyck, with how good he's been, again, those are 3 teams right there. Colorado, Winnipeg, and then pick your poison between probably Dallas, St. Louis, and Chicago as that third best team in that division. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you have my opinion that the Dallas Stars will be that third team in the playoffs, or do you have a team like Nashville or Chicago or St. Louis getting that third spot? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time.